Welcome back to Studio 5. You know, in a face-to-face conversation, it's easy to sense someone's emotion. Their voice can raise or their tone can change, indicating how they feel. But with a text message, it's not quite that clear. You can easily misinterpret how someone is feeling or the message they are trying to send. So, the big question today, how can you communicate the correct emotion through the screen? Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend has some rules to think about before you push send. And I'm so glad we're doing this topic, because I just add exclamation points. Lots of them.
I've noticed that.
Have you?
Well, and winks and smiley faces.
No, I don't do the emoticons. I haven't gone that far.
I don't even know how to do an emoticon.
Yeah, I haven't gone that far, but I do find myself trying to overcompensate on an emotion.
I think when you use too many exclamation points that you're mad.
You do?
Well, like, man, she's really being loud with her punctuation.
No, I'm just being hyper.
Okay, is that what that means?
Just trying to be enthusiastically hyper.
See how hard this emotion is to convey? 80–85% of communication is nonverbal, facial expression, tones, things like that. So you're probably missing most of it if you're trying to text it, even if you're using emoticons.
Okay.
Okay, so we got to be careful, right?
Yeah.
Rule number 1, begin with the end in mind.
What does that mean?
Maybe we shouldn't have this conversation via text.
And I am here to say I think a lot of conversations that happen over text probably shouldn't.
Well, and interestingly, in some conversations I've seen that couples have face-to-face might do better over text. If you have somebody that's hyper-reactive and reacts to everything, maybe it's better that you actually have that conversation over text so that they don't have to react as much to what's going on. But most of the time, text is great for just, hey, pick up whatever, the kids, do this, have you done this, do you know where I am, that stuff. Anything else that's kind of really emotional, I might save it for a deeper conversation.
Well, and I honestly am not a huge texter. I would honestly rather pick up the phone. But I can think just off the top of my head at least 2 or 3 scenarios in the last month where my tone's been misinterpreted or I didn't put enough exclamation points in there.
Well, you can't. And so here's the rule. If you're going to use text, you have to remember the rule. Effective text demands 5x, 5 times more. Okay. So an effective text, if you want the emotion in there, you have to probably write more that describes your feelings, the situation. You might even use words that are like sound words, like I'm noticing, I'm hearing, it's loud, I'm so frustrated I could just scream. Just stuff like that that creates the emotion for them. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. Are you mad? Just because really think of it, a text could be 2 or 3 lines with an exclamation point. Right. So are you mad that I didn't get the kids? What's your problem? I don't know where we are on this. Right. So you probably need to describe more and use more language. So
details, we're getting into details.
A lot of details. The problem is most of us don't want to add more details in a text. That's why we're not texting.
Can we get it out, get it off?
Yeah. So one of the rules, you just know if you want the emotion in there, you have to have more detail, more text. Okay. Here's another rule. Clarify what you are saying and what you're not saying. Sometimes you might sense that they think you're mad. Like, are you mad? They'll ask, question mark, and you can say, no, I'm not mad. And then I would describe what you are. Now, a lot of times we'll just say, I'm not mad, exclamation point. Yeah. So I'd say, I'm not mad, I'm just frustrated because you said you'd bring home dinner and you didn't. So again, more detail. More detail, but so what you're saying is, I am not this, I am this. And actually tell them what you are. So this works great in just face-to-face communication as well. It's easier for me, instead of just hearing that you're not something, tell me what you are. I'm not saying that our marriage is over because we're fighting. What I am saying is, I'm not sure if we know how to fix this without help. And please tell me that's not happening over text message. But good example. But it totally does. Good example. People, please. Okay. Another one, invite more understanding after every conversation. So every time you have a turn, invite them to give you data for how they received the turn. Like a question? That could be a question. So sorry, I wasn't able to call your mom back like I said I would. Are you okay with that? So that invitation, are you okay with that? Basically forces the other person to give you more information. Well, kind of, but let's just make sure we get it done tonight. Then she can give me more data. Does that make sense? So the idea is I'm always going to try to invite you back to clarify if I'm getting all the information I can. Now, you know what's funny about this? What? These are great rules, and I can see in every scenario you're referencing that these are important to do, but it kind of defeats the purpose of text message. Exactly. Because a text message is supposed to be short and quick, and so really that's the big message. Look what that tells you then. That tells you that sometimes the text messaging isn't the tool. It's not the right method. Right. It's not the right mode of communication to have the difficult or the more difficult conversations. So then the other rule is maybe just get by texting the best you can, but when you get home, make sure you check your understanding when you're face-to-face. So we talked about how I didn't call your mom today, or I didn't get follow up with your mom. Tell me really how you feel about that. Now that we're face-to-face, I can gather all the data and use all of my faculties to make sure that we got the text message right.
So you're following up, essentially.
And you might even postpone it and say, I'm frustrated that you didn't call my mom. Let's talk about it when you get home.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So a lot of us try to push everything down and through this tiny little mode of communication, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. We were talking about this yesterday on your radio show. Yeah. You were so gracious to have me as a guest.
Every month.
But we got into this a little bit, and I'm such a hand talker and a face talker, and I mean, I get into what I'm saying.
You're like a dancer.
Well, I choreograph every conversation, but that's why I don't like radio, because I think, you know, you text message these conversations, and it just doesn't come across the right way.
We have so much more fun in the room or in the studio doing radio than anyone listening.
Right, over the phone.
Because the facial expressions, you were born to understand, right? So since birth, we were all wired to understand. It's the universal language is facial expression. Right. We all have the exact same facial expressions universally in the world. Pleasure has the same face. Pain has the same face. So it is the language we're supposed to be using, and some of the mediums we use don't make sense.
Okay, those are great rules if you are having those text message conversations, and we are going to put these rules into practice.
Yes,
are you ready?
I can hardly wait.
Matt and I are going to role play a couple of text conversations that might happen out there.
Happen every day.
We're going to show a bad example and a good example, right?
The bad will be my examples.
Am I going first?
Please.
Okay, Matt.
Yes.
Did you remember to pick up my prescription last night?
Nope, forgot.
You forgot?
Oh my God. Yep. Sorry. Get off my back. Sorry about that.
Harsh.
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that.
Well, thanks a lot. That is just one more thing I have to do today.
Oh, my word. Get your own prescription. Get off my back. I'm not your maid.
And notice no exclamation points. None.
None. But
no
did you notice
emoticons.
Notice what I was saying that wasn't even in the message.
Yeah.
So I was emoting all of this energy.
You said get off my back at least 3 times.
I did. Notice too, I hardly said any words.
Okay.
And I never invited you to give me information.
Right.
Are you okay? Sorry, I'll get it tonight. Are you okay with that?
Should we try it again?
Let's do it again. Let's do it right.
Take 2. All right.
Scene.
Matt.
Yes.
Did you remember to pick up my prescription last night?
Shoot. I totally spaced it. I was running late because John's soccer practice went over and the coach was a jerk, and I had to talk to all the other parents at the match, and I had to drop off the carpool. Plus, I had a church meeting, and you know how that goes because the people at church will not stop talking. They drive me crazy. I was trying to get to it. I'm sorry. I can pick it up on my way home tonight.
I almost fell over on that one.
It's exhausting.
I will respond to that by saying, that's okay. I'll just do it after I drop the kids off at school. Period.
Well, you should have done it the first place, man. It's your prescription. It's not even my prescription. Really sorry.
Did you stick to the script?
Thanks for all you do.
Oh.
You're the best. See, that's cute.
Oh.
And that's an exclamation point.
That's how it's supposed to be done.
Hey, I just want to know what prescription it is.
Shut up.
What are you talking
Shut
about?
up. All right. I just said shut up. That wasn't very kind.
Did.
Please stop talking.
Just text. Sorry.
I'm on it. While I'm doing this, why don't you tell us about your date night?
I've got a date night. You know what? November 9th. I don't know if you know this. I've been doing these for years. Date nights. Hello.
Many years.
And November 9th, 7 o'clock. It's called the 4 Spirits of Communication. Sometimes you can't remember all the rules. So when you can't remember the rules, just remember the spirit of good communication. I'll teach 4 of them. It goes from 7 to about 9 o'clock, and I give a discount. If you go to datenightswithmatt.com, enter in Studio 5, I get 20% off the ticket price for any viewers and family of Studio 5, and this will set you up to have a great holiday season.
And I have to say this, I had a friend ask me the other day what the date nights were like, because Mark and I have come, we've loved them.
You love it.
And she's like, my husband's really not sure about this, and I said, it's comedy meets good, solid relationship advice. I mean, the guys end up, the husbands walk out loving it just as much.
Well, and in the end, everyone will be picking up everyone's prescriptions.
We'll be right back.
It works that well.